Good morning, everybody. We're back. The wake up call. We're here. We're live. We're in the office. We're back from a long weekend of touring Ontario, not for me, but for the band that my husband's in. So the Bilinguish boys have been a little bit everywhere. Je suis good, good. Bonjour, mon ami. How are you, my friend? Is a song that they do and is a earworm, and I'm not going to sing it for you here today. But yeah, so I've been playing band wife. I've been playing a marketing coordinator and social media and photographing videographer, roadie, all of those good things. I get to do that on the weekends and when I'm not doing this. So I'm super pumped. Had a great weekend, and I'm glad to be back here talking governance after a weekend of chaos and laughter. So today we're talking about good governance always, but we're talking about how you might be a governance geek like me. Like me, I'm a governance geek. I'm a self-proclaimed governance geek, and we're going to talk about all of that today and how that happens. But also, I want you to be able to identify that within yourself and what would make you what would make your experience on boards valuable to any board that you're on? Because you want to be there and have an impact and have be able to contribute as much as you can. So welcome everybody. If you're watching this on the rebroadcast, good morning, good afternoon, happy 3 a.m. If you're watching this, I'm not opposed to that. We've been there. So episode 10 today. Episode 10. We are here. We're doing it. Thank you to those who have been watching, those who are wanting to learn, those of you who are curious about boards, and those who just want to figure out what I'm doing for a living. This is me, and this is my YouTube episode, the wake up call. So after 10 episodes, and with a lot of planning, you can see my wall. We did some strategic planning last week, and I'm going to leave it up there. You can read it if you like. You can try to decipher what we're talking about. It's all about governance, it's all about finding solutions for you. And I'm finding my groove here. I think next month we're developing the calendar, and we're going to be sharing with you a lot more of the governance solutions that I've been developing with my team, a framework that really explains governance engagement and why you might not have it at your board. It's going to talk about retention, and it's going to target pain points and implement solutions. So it ends up really looking at what you're targeting, or what discomforts that are happening on your board, and you can target those, and then you can really put into place or course correct with your team, with your board, before they become true pain points. So I'm really excited about all of that. We've got new lingo, we've got new frameworks, we've got new solutions that are really going to help boards. Because I think the common thread, and today I'm going to talk to you generally about what we're working on, but also common threads that I have seen in this 20-year career that I have here on boards, what I've seen and what I've experienced and what I've supported along the way. And the common themes are very, very simple. All right. One of the things that distinguishes, I think, my approach from maybe other approaches, which I'm really proud of, is the fact that we target the humanity on boards and the feelings and the emotions and those pain points that I talked about earlier, because there's nothing worse than sitting at a board and feeling like you don't belong, you're not valued, your voice isn't being heard, you're anxious, you don't feel satisfied with the work that you're doing because you're not seeing results. Those kinds of things. This model that I'm working on with my team is like a framework to, I like the word here, I have notes here, course correct. If your board seems to be chaotic, or if your board seems to be in a funk, for lack of better words, there's a way to course correct that, and we can bring it back and we can re-engage. Again, the common threads that I see most often and that are talked about the most, and the conversations that I have with CEOs or with funk is a great word, yeah. Um, that I have with board chairs or with board members, or somebody hears that I'm on a board and they'll be like, "Oh, I need to talk to you. The board that I'm on is really in a funk or is really struggling with something." And the most common thing that I hear, well, I have 3. I have 3 things that I hear the most, okay? One is we don't have enough people at our table, all right? So we're trying to recruit members. We don't know how to recruit them. There's a lot of changeover happening. We don't necessarily know what the problem is. You know, we're trying to be as friendly as possible. We're trying to offer them perks. We're trying to figure out when the meetings are the best time to accommodate. We're using Zoom and we're using in person, and we're trying all of these things, but at the core, there are fundamentally some issues that might not be, uh, I don't know, how would you say this? They could be causing these pain points at your board. And we're gonna go through those eventually throughout the month of October and throughout, because the framework is is going to be the basis for everything. So so that's a common problem that we're seeing often at the board level, which is that retention, the lack of retention, and the need to find more people. The other struggle is common understanding. You know, I'll hear often, we're all sitting around the table and not everybody understands what we're supposed to be doing. And that is a challenge. Not everybody is at the same level. Not everybody is understanding why they're there. What are they there to do? How can they influence at a meeting? How can they ask the right questions? What decisions are yours to make and what are not yours to make? That's an important distinguishing factor. Like, what are you supposed to be working on and what are you not supposed to be working on and delegating? And what's expected from you? I think that what's expected from you is often bypassed, where we get invited to these meetings and we just sit there and we're like, just come to a few meetings, you'll start to understand. Well, that's not enough. We need to, the board needs to really engage you in and give you proper training and orientation so that you feel comfortable asking all of the questions and talking at a board meeting. It's intimidating, depending on what type of board you're at. I've been at multiple different types. You know, some of them is like in a coffee shop meeting, some of them are meeting in a boardroom, some of them are in the top level of a big institution, some of them are on Zoom. Zoom brought on a whole other, you know, slew of slew. Don't you love that word? Brought on a whole other slew of difficulties when engaging. I've started boards during the pandemic, during Zoom, and you don't get that same connection with people. Documents, the other pain point. So the third one that I'm going to talk about today is the documents. And I think somebody is at my door and I'm expecting Bell. You know how they say they're going to be here from like between 8 and 5. So I think this is what's happening right now. And I might have to let you go right now. But the other third point is documents and tools. And we don't have the right documents and we don't have the right tools. And I think we're this is live, everybody. This is live. If you don't hear my dog barking right now, thank you. Uh, thank you, Zoom, or thank you, YouTube, for covering that up. Um, so, yeah, bylaws, articles of incorporation, policies, meeting procedures, governance procedures, those kinds of things are pain points for some organizations. You don't have those right. Are they updated? How are we supposed to be reviewing these things? Do we have the right people to review these things at the table? it comes back to recruitment and retention. So, having been on those different boards and having seen those challenges and having um, identified those challenges within some of the boards, um, it really is feeding the development of this framework that we're working on, and I'm really proud of that, and 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 what it could be doing for boards and taking them out of the funk. So understanding those 3 elements, so, you know, board retention and recruitment, we don't have enough people. We don't know, we need more people at our board. The other thing is common understanding of roles and responsibilities, why people are sitting around the table. And the third one is governance processes. We don't have the right documents. We need the right tools. Our meetings are too long. We're stagnant. We're not we're not making decisions on the right things to influence the organization, or we're making decisions that we shouldn't be doing. We shouldn't be making. All of those things. Those are common things that I hear. And um, along my own journey, so I started out as a board member, not being that keen young person, 20 some year old, invited to a board and not necessarily, you know, knowing what I was getting into, but somebody identified that I would be good at this, and that I would be a joiner and I would be a governance geek. And they were right. They were right. I loved organizing events, and I loved, leading groups and being part of the creative process of organizing things. I loved that kind of thing. And I enjoyed coordinating people around a common theme, and I enjoyed also understanding the mechanics behind organizations, and I had a knack for really getting involved in that aspect. So if that's you, if you're listening right now and you're like, yeah, that's me too, I've always been on a board. I was on student councils, that kid on student councils, that was me. And when my kids were in daycare, I was on the parent committee and board at the time. And then in university, I was always getting involved. Those are the kinds of things, like, you can pinpoint those people sitting at the table, just like pure leadership, or pure, you know, if you find those kinds of things fun, well, let me tell you, we could have a good chat. I do. I like those things. I like picking apart, uh, um, concepts and ideas, and finding solutions. That's why my business is called LMD Solutions. Um, but getting into that, identifying if you're in a good board or not, I think that is is really important. So those 3 things, like we talk about, who's at the table and why, and understanding your role, and then also having the right tools. Those are things that you can start if you're just looking into being a governance geek. Maybe I should have badges, or like little, like, things like pins that say I too am a governance geek, or something like that. That would be great. And we could have a secret club or a secret handshake, because I think that we're all the same. I think that we all want to do this, and we're all there for the same reasons. So if you've been asked, but if you're also on a board and you have experience and you've identified those things, or if you have a newbie coming in, remember last week we talked about what is a good mentor? Those are 3 things that you can explain to the person, why you're here. These are the board processes. This is how we recruit people. This is how you were brought in, and good recruitment and retention is based on several elements. And I talked about that last week. You could go back into some episodes. Um, I was spoiled by being on good boards and being brought into good boards and good orientation and good training. And I still struggled. All right. It's 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 a new world when you start. And you will sit and listen and try to, find out how you can be of value and influence. And I think that I think that as you sit for long enough, you'll try to you'll understand a lot more. But I think that this framework that we're developing and the training that we're offering at LMD Solutions and the guidance and consulting that we're doing with boards is kind of taking that first initial orientation and like compact, making it so that the people feel as comfortable as possible as they start their journey, not 6 months down the road, or not a year or one cycle of governance in, or, I want those people to feel comfortable, and I want the organization to know how to recruit and retain them. And I want the people who are going into the boards feeling satisfied that they're doing a good job. So, a lot of things were discussed this morning in this 15 minutes and 52 seconds. But what I want you to take away from this, all right, is that if you are sitting in the position of either a board member or a CEO, and that you are maybe thinking that you might be a governance geek too, you have a responsibility of making sure that everybody sitting around the table is also feeling that, is also feeling like, I know why I'm here. I feel good. I'm not anxious. I know what questions to ask. And just having that as a board member could make somebody feel really valued. And if you are in the position of making that person feel like they're welcome and valued and satisfied with the work that they're doing, be that person. Get the training that they need for get training they need. Provide that for your board. Talk about it at your board meetings. Instill that culture within the board that you're sitting at. And I think that that will make a stronger board. Talk to them about the wake up call. Talk to them about the training that is available. Governance 101. We can talk about policies. We can talk about roles and responsibilities. We can talk about um, risk mitigation and why they're there, and strategic planning and operationalization, but also, you know, course correcting any of the situations that you're experiencing at a board that might not be running optimally. So that's my word for you today. Uh, Governance geek out with me. Keep watching. Um, you're going to want to be here in October because we're going to be talking about so many things. This week, I'm going to be sharing with you. So I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I've been listening to a lot of governance podcasts. Did you know that that exists? And I feel so less alone, I think, when I listen to these things. And I'm going to create a list of them with some episodes that I've really enjoyed, because I'm not, the end all be all on governance. I want you to experience the great things. And I'm going to suggest to you some great episodes and some great things that you could be listening to, enrich your experience as well, but also to maybe share with others that are sitting at your board. So do the same, share these episodes with those that you're sitting at the board with, but also I'll give you a list on Thursday. I'm going to provide you with a list of podcast episodes that I think are really of value to you and your organizations, or you as a board member or a volunteer, or things that you could be doing. So thank you. Merci beaucoup. Merci Suzanne d'être là. And I hope that you have a great week. I'll be here tomorrow talking to you again about this topic, but about, getting the information that you need to be the best board member that you can be. So have a good day. I'm going to sip a lot of coffee after the weekend that I had. I hope that you have a great week, and we'll see you tomorrow.